disappeared.
I think we'll have to retweet this other new.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think we can start, right? Or we need to, or these other speakers you're waiting for. I think Dalmas is in the building.
No, because Dalmas, you and Cindy were supposed to be speakers.
Awesome, man. So for me, actually, let me start off by congratulating the likes of Dalmas, the likes of Hazard, and the likes of Cindy for graduating the latest cohort that was ongoing by Web3Clubs. So congrats to you guys. You are the first cohort that went in depth covering Starknet. So for me, actually, I was interested to get to know what you guys learned during that period, so that at least if a beginner is starting out and wants some guidance, you're the right guys to approach. So for me, I'm speaking from a point of view of someone who wants to, get involved in the Starknet ecosystem. Because, okay, I'm not new to blockchain, but at least I would really like to know what's happening, because I see it's vibrant. The dev community and the Starknet ecosystem is very vibrant, particularly here in Kenya and Africa large. So yeah, I'm interested to. I know there's a lot happening in the ecosystem in terms of infrastructure level, what guys are building. So I think the things that will be interested to touch on will be maybe the likes of the language I need to learn once I get started. Once I get started to building in the Starknet ecosystem, in terms of how do I set up my dev environment, where do I get the resources. I think Hazard guy, it's possible for us to drop the resources in the Jumbotron, right? The links to the resources where maybe guys can have a look at so that we can follow up on a few resources that maybe Dalmas or you can share. I think that's possible. We can drop them in the Jumbotron, right?
Yeah, as people are joining, just to give you a heads up of what's happening tonight. Started this space to indulge people in a beginner's guide series, kind of, on how to get started in Starknet and Cairo ecosystem. So yeah, there's a cohort that 3 days ago graduated, and most of them are here. Very good devs, and just started this series to share with the world on also how to get started. So most of us started without really proper guidance because we had to look for stuff. But now with this space, I think it will be super helpful to others who also want to delve into Starknet. So I started this space. It will be a series, hopefully as many nights as possible. And tonight we just want to talk about a beginner's guide on what to get started. So even before we get started on Starknet, beginner's guide to a dev, I think it's imperative we understand what is this Starknet. And yeah, so I'll take this one, then the other speakers, Dalmas and Cindy. I can even see Paul is here. Paul is also a very knowledgeable person in this space, and Felix. Then we'll talk about them. Yeah, so Starknet is a blockchain. So it's different from blockchains built on the EVM. So it requires many of its own developer tools. And so while the original stack of Starknet development tools was mostly developed on Python, tool developers are moving towards building mostly on Rust. And we'll even talk about stuff like Cairo. Now, Dalmas, would you please take us through just a simple guide or other tools that someone might need to start developing on Starknet?
Yes. Good evening. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, as Hazard has said it, Starknet started off with Python, and then later on it's moving towards Cairo. So Cairo is a Rust-based or a Rust-like language that is used in writing smart contracts in Starknet. So when it comes to Starknet, you have to sort of install set up your environment differently as compared to other chains. For example, now instead of using the likes of Travo and Ganache, you need to have something like Katana or Starknet DevNet for you to quickly spin up a local development server. So what happens here to get started, among the tools are those that I've said, that's DevNet, Starknet DevNet. And in this case, you're going to use Starknet DevNet Rust version, not the Python version, though still the Python version works well as the Rust version. And after having DevNet, so DevNet is like a local node where you can deploy your contract to, interact with it. Then if you feel that it's good, then you can send it online to testnet and proceed with the rest of the testing. So the advantage of having the local node is that you don't have to worry about setting up your API in Infura or somewhere so that you can deploy your testnet, but you can quickly roll it up to DevNet in your local machine, then test it out. The next tool that you need is setting up the CLI tools. That is, we have Scab, and also we have Starknet Foundry and Starkly. So those are the three tools that sort of go together. But among the main tool, or for you to set up those tools to work properly, you need Rust set up in your machine. So Rust is the best, then DevNet, then Scab. So Scab is a package manager for Cairo. So as I've said, Cairo is the language that we use in writing smart contracts. But before, smart contracts in Starknet were written in Python. Then after having Scab, your package manager, you need to have Starknet Foundry. So Starknet Foundry is a tool like Seed Truffle console, so that can help you to sort of interact and test out your smart contract. So with Starknet Foundry, it comes with the two tools in it. The first one is SNForge, and the other one is SNCast. SNForge has a few of the functions that it should perform. For example, you can use SNForge to write your tests and run your tests, and also init a new project. Then we have SNCast. SNCast, now you use this one to interact with your smart contract. For example, that is declaring your smart contract, deploying it, and creating accounts and sort of things. So totally for interaction with your smart contract. Then so there are a few things or a few resources that you need to fix before you get started properly. That's just for the environment part. But what about the learning part? So for the learning part, you need to have to take a look into a few tools or a few resources. The first one is we have that is the Cairo book. So with Cairo book, you learn about Cairo itself, the language, how to code in it. That is, how can you write something with Cairo? So Cairo is Rust based, sort of the syntax given by Rust, and I can say it's greatly inspired by Rust. Then after learning something with Cairo, then you go ahead to learn about doing your smart contracts. So Cairo book also offers that part greatly and much because it's continuous down. Then we have Starknet book that gives you now more information about Starknet and writing smart contracts, interacting with it, and a few things on Starknet that include um, account abstraction, more about the nodes, that is nodes on Starknet. Then we have Starknet.js, that's the third resource. So you have written your smart contract in Cairo, you have deployed it to DevNet, then you need to interact with it from a given front end from you so that the end user can have something to interact with. Then you need to use Starknet.js. So Starknet.js, like a Web3.js, Others.js, helps you interact with your smart contract. Then, so when you have written your front end with Starknet.js, you have linked it with your contract, then you need some wallets to sign transactions. So in this part, you're going to use two of the given wallets currently. That is, we have AgentX and Bravos. So those are all, I can say, most of the tools you need, though there are several other blogs that can help you. So if you, I think Hazard can help us quickly roll up that file of those links with different blogs that have or dig dig deep into smart contracts and more other things that you need to know about writing smart contracts and interacting with Starknet. Also, we are not going to forget about Starknet Kit and Starknet Kit and Starknet React. Those are other resources that are resources and the tools that are very, very useful when it comes to your front-end part. So we have Starknet.js, Starknet Kit, and Starknet React. These are the three tools that can help you writing your front-end for it to be seamless and very nice. Yeah, so I think we have...
yeah, that was pretty elaborate.
I think I can talk more about it, yeah. Thank you.
Just to probably simplify what Dalmas was saying. So he talked about several tools, and he started by saying what you need, and he talked about Starknet.js, that the languages in Starknet.js are mostly JavaScript and TypeScript, and it can be used by decentralized apps and wallets. So the Starknet.js, you can think of it as what we use to build the front end mostly. Then he talked about Starkly, which is Starkly, mostly written in Rust. I'll provide the links. Then now, after you build stuff on Starknet, on the stack, then there's the Scab. Think of Scab as now the like npm, the package manager, where now if you want to install some packages, you can use the Scab to do your stuff. So it's actually the Cairo package manager in the Starknet ecosystem. It's actually the official package manager. And why should you care about this Scab? So when you're installing the Cairo packages, it handles adding, updating, and even removing the dependencies. You can actually use it to compile smart contracts, just like Delmas was talking, rather explaining. So yeah, Then the Foundry is the tool chain for developing now the smart contracts. It will help you when you're writing, deploying, and testing your smart contracts. So now, some of the features are the fast testing frameworks. Then it will support prints in the contracts. Then there's the online Foundry book, which has a lot of helpful information and guidance in writing, running tests, and interacting with Starknet. Then now, the Foundry also has integrated compiling and dependency management. You can just use Scab to do that. Yeah, now the SNcast that Dalmas was talking about, it is cast and the command name is SNcast. So it is just an integrated CLI specifically designed for performing the Starknet RPC calls, sending transactions, and even getting Starknet chain data. So that is what Dalmas was explaining, and I'll be happy to provide the links in a bit in the chat section. So, Dennis, are you starting to get the point of how to, as a concerned developer, how to get into Starknet developing?
Yeah, sure. So that's great insights that you've shared with together with Dalmas. So personally, for me, I'm not like a totally newbie into blockchain, but I think what you've mentioned is familiar. And one of the things I noticed with the Starknet ecosystem is, I mean, the tools are really well documented. Like, for example, the Foundry book, Starknet Foundry book, the documentation is really done. It's done very nicely. And as a developer, I think that's something for me to get started is quite easy. As well as maybe I think something you didn't mention was being able to set up the dev environment. So in terms of what I'll need setting up, I think you mentioned the likes of Scrub, which I see you've shared. Scab, sorry. I think you've shared the resources for that. So maybe in terms of the language now, do I need to learn Rust, or do I need to, or I can start off with Cairo directly?
Yeah, so let me give Cindy speaker rights so that she can talk about that. But before she talks about that, so there's also a documentation on Cairolang. Okay, she's requested. So if you have prior knowledge of Rust, I think you are at a higher advantage because all the contracts are written in Cairo. So you need to learn the language, and there's a really nice documentation in the Cairo book where I'm also learning on how to write contracts on Cairo. So, okay, she's not yet the speaker. Dalmas, can you take the question on someone who wants to learn Cairo if he has to learn Rust first and then proceed to Cairo? Or you can just start from Cairo straight away.
Okay, so when it comes to Cairo itself as a language, so Cairo is a standalone language. You don't have to learn Rust because you're also going to learn Cairo. It has all these steps of, let's say, learning about a language. For example, we start from the data types, what Cairo is, the data types, all the way to the end of it, like to the advanced section of Cairo itself. That is the likes of generics and the traits, generics, the implementation, all those stuff, the basic math, and all of those. So you don't really need to have any knowledge about Rust for you to learn Cairo, except they are so familiar that if you know Rust, then you definitely know Cairo. But you don't really have to worry about Rust because you'll totally learn it like a new language. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying for someone like you, I think it will be a walk in the park because you're not new to programming. But even for a beginner, just like you said before, the documentations are really well written, and then right now there's a lot of communities where you can just ask questions and get help. For instance, if you go to Telegram, there are a lot of groups that you can just get into the groups and ask for assistance from anyone who is well conversant with the language. There's something you are saying. I interrupted you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, that's nice. So for me, like personally, I'm more into like the front end side of things. So I mostly do like front end engineering. So and Dalmas mentioned something about these libraries that you can use in the Starknet ecosystem that can help you with building UIs, particularly
Okay.
using.
I'm not
React.
sure. Dennis, is it me only who is not hearing you? Or
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. He's.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I was saying, in terms of like coming, mostly I handle front end development, and I'll be interested to know. You mentioned the likes of Starknet JS, and there's also Starknet React that essentially provides you with React hooks to build the UIs. So, in terms of getting like open source projects and seeing what guys are building in the Starknet ecosystem, is there like places I can visit and see these kind of projects that guys are building?
Yes, I think the most useful one is you can visit Only Dust. You'll get a lot of projects there, so you can just go to Only Dust and look up even most of the projects that are going on there, and even the Starknet co-founders tweet a lot about it. You can go there and even contribute to what you're good at. You can find projects doing a lot of stuff, but they have some issues on front end. You can just go there and find them. Then there's also, I've shared one, Starknet by examples. You will also find useful materials there where you can read and get to understand. Then there's this guy that I follow. I'll share his link also, his GitHub. He did something on Starknet JS. He has written some documentation on Starknet JS. You can just go to the README of his project and also get some insight on stuff related to front end. So I'll also share the link of Only Dust where you can contribute to projects, and as you're contributing you can also get to learn more about whichever aspect you are interested in. So now I'd like Cindy to also speak about the Starknet beginner's guide, or advise someone who also wants to start on the journey. Then I've seen Felix here. He's more into game development, so he'll also talk a little bit about the environment that maybe someone wants to build. stuff related to games can indulge in. So feel free to unmute and speak. Hello. Hello.
Okay, maybe she has some issues with the mic. Felix,
Okay.
you can request.
Yeah, let me give Felix speaker rights so that he can talk about game. Felix is working on a nice game on the Starknet ecosystem. Maybe he can just quickly tell us in a few minutes how to set up the environment to probably work on something similar to what he's doing. As he's getting ready, you can continue the conversation on only dust if you've done something there.
All right. So when it comes to Starknet for devs, it's one of the best chains I can say that sort of focuses on the devs as much it focuses on the business part of things. So Starknet offers a lot of opportunities for all devs. When you go to only dust, that is where most of the projects on Starknet are currently running. You have yourself a chance to contribute and get something from it as a developer. So you not only contribute learning, but you also contribute earning. So yeah, so whenever you make a contribution to on only dust, it can be about Starknet or other projects, but usually most of them there are about Starknet, including Madara for yeah, we have Madara and others, Starknet book itself, Starknet JS, Starknet React, all these nice projects on Starknet, you stand a chance of earning as a developer. So if you feel like you're good in JavaScript, you're good in Cairo, you're good in Rust, then go there and flex of your muscles. I can say you will enjoy it. It's not a bad thing. So Starknet really takes care of us. We build the environment that we are going to use or others are going to use in the coming days. So yeah, so just go in, look at the project. If you feel like you can be able to handle a given issue for a given project, then you request to given the chance to handle the issue. Then you have some time to do it. Then once you have written a nice documentation about it, it's reviewed, and once it has been posted, the funds are released to your account. So that's the good thing about Starknet. One of the good things about Starknet, besides its scalability part, and yeah, so yeah, just fist only dust. Let me post the link here. Yeah, so that's the link. So there you help build the tools, write the documentation, etc.
Yeah, so as he's posting, you remember when we started this conversation, we just started, but I think I need to explain that Darknet is it's a permissionless ZK-Rollup that allows apps to achieve high levels of scaling without compromising on securities. So it's a L2. I'm sure most of us have seen stuff to do with optimistic, zero knowledge, and stuff like that. So Starknet is a type of heat scaling solution known as a ZK-Rollup. And ZK-Rollups can scale even billions of people. And the more people use them, the cheaper they become. And now it's Starknet, all this without compromising on security and decentralization. So that's why Starknet is not just will be, but I think it's really good for developing your decentralized apps on it. So okay, Felix is requesting to speak. Let me just give him permission. Yeah, welcome to the conversation, Felix. You can talk about gamer's journey in a short time. Yeah, feel free to unmute and speak about Starknet. Dalmas, can you hear me? I'm not sure if...
Yeah, I can hear you clearly on my side.
So which means Felix can hear me too. Yeah, just unmute and tell us something.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Felix Awere. I'm a full stack developer. I'm currently working on Stack Dice, a multiplayer Ludo game on Starknet. So today I would like to talk about gaming on the blockchain, preferably Starknet, and what you really need to dive into the space of gaming in Starknet. So first of all, we have a tool known as Dojo. The Dojo tool, it's a tool that helps people to develop games on the Starknet network. So during the installation, you'd find that we would need something like you need to have Rust installed on your machine, and then after that, you are gonna clone the link to the repo, or you could just go install the link by following the documentation. So from there, when we look at the structure of a Dojo app, there are things to take note of, like the word, systems, model, commands, and functions. You also need a tool that will help you run your Dojo models. Preferably, I would use Katana.
Please speak to your mouthpiece. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
All right. Like I was saying, I'm gonna talk about Dojo. So Dojo is basically an engine that we use to develop games on the Starknet. So to install this app, we normally need you need to have Rust installed. So basically, if you follow through the documentation, there's just one command to do that links you to their GitHub repo, and then once you do that, you just type in Dojo app, and everything will be up and running for you. So you will be welcomed with a template. There is a tool known as Sozo. So when you want to open a game template, you just do Sozo init, and it gives you a kind of a boilerplate to start with in your journey of game development. So yeah, gaming in blockchain is something that is currently on demand and interesting. And I would advise you, if you are a game developer or if you are a developer who needs to start on game development, then yeah, you just need to start through it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Because today was just a beginner's guide. Don't want to go in depth and scare our beginners. Cindy, are you able to speak now? Okay, she requested. Let me just give her speaker rights. Yes. So yeah, that's just about most of the stuff that as a beginner you are required to have. Now I'm just wondering if you want to speak, you can just use an emoji to react, and then I'll give you some speaker rights. Now, Dennis, do you have any question that you'd like to ask the speakers? But before you ask any question, Cindy, you can also unmute and speak about something on the Starknet beginners, to the Starknet beginners.
Okay. First, am I even audible at all?
Yes, you are.
Okay, nice. Okay, so sorry guys, we've been having a lot of network issues, but at least I'm here already. So yeah, so I think what I can say about Starknet in the beginning, just to give for the beginners, just to give a brief overview of where Starknet lies in the Ethereum ecosystem. So as we know, in Ethereum right now we're having so many scaling issues, so that's where like now the layer twos come in. And just before we even go into Starknet and where it lies in the ecosystem, there's some bit of how I want to just give a brief overview of how the layer two solutions are, effectively laid out against Ethereum. So when it comes to now the layer two solutions, which are trying to solve the scalability issues in Ethereum, we normally have we have the rollups, and for the rollups we now have Starknet, we have Optimism, etc. We'll get back to that later. And then we now have something called Plasma. It's also another layer two solution, which is just for scaling Ethereum. So it's in Plasma, they have this concept of creating child blockchains, but you're using Ethereum. So in Plasma, we have something called Magic. That's one thing we know. Also another thing about the layer two solutions, we have the state channels. It's like a peer-to-peer blockchain system. And then we also have side chains. We have Validium. With Validium, we have this X. And yeah, so basically, just like a brief overview of how the layer two solutions are uh, around Ethereum. So but now the most successful solutions are now the rollups. And so with the rollups, we now have either the optimistic rollups, or we now have the optimistic rollups and the zero knowledge or validity, let's say, rollups. So with optimistic, the main difference between optimistic and the validity rollups, like now where Starknet comes in, is with optimistic they have this technique where they have this trusted technique where, first of all, before they bundle up all the transactions to now the layer one, they trust that the transactions are valid. So it's now up to you. If you now decide to challenge the transactions, once they've processed the transactions and you've decided to challenge whether it's valid or not, you can now do something called a fraud proof. So yeah, you now decide to challenge the transactions, check if they're okay, and basically it takes I think around a week if I'm not wrong. So the main hindrance with this system is in as much as it's very cheap when it comes to gas fees, it's not really trusted because now what if no one decides to challenge whether the transactions are valid or not? So meaning these transactions, some transactions that can be invalid, but they've already been bundled up to the layer one. But now with Starknet, they've come with this mission of don't trust, verify. So that's where the whole concept of validity proofs come in. So with Starknet, once they have processed the transactions, they basically create a proof for them. So once this proof is now transmitted to the validators in Ethereum. So where Ethereum comes in, where Starknet comes in the ecosystem is that they basically are bundling up these transactions, they're processing them off chain and then they're sending them to Ethereum, but they're creating a proof so you can be assured that these transactions are valid. Yeah, so I just wanted to put that across where Starknet comes in the ecosystem. And something else, because I had mentioned on Validium, the whole difference actually between Validium and the rollups is the Validium, they process Validium and Plasma, they process these transactions off chain, but with Validity-Rollups and optimistic rollups, they process these transactions on chain. Yes, so that's something I just wanted to let you guys know. Yeah, so for anyone entering into this Starknet ecosystem, it would be very nice to just understand where they're coming from. So if you so it makes it easier to understand how the model of Starknet, how it works, the transaction life cycle for Starknet, why Cairo, because if Starknet is creating proofs, that means it had to design a language specifically for creating provable programs. That's why we have Cairo, and that's why it's designed the way it's designed to create the proofs. And yeah, so also just don't delve deep into the code without understanding first how the Starknet architecture works. Yeah, I think that's it. I just wanted to lay that across so you understand the role that Starknet plays in the Ethereum ecosystem. Yeah.
Okay, was that was way elaborate than just it went beyond beginner's guide, but that's what we want. That's why we are here. So what she has just explained is almost everything that's happening here. Now, I won't add much to what she has said, and yeah, I'll just encourage us to keep on reading on Cairo. Just like she has said that Starknet had to use a language, so that's why Cairo came up. So for you as a beginner to actually build on Starknet, you have to learn Cairo and try as much as possible to be efficient in it. Then you'll have an easy time building. So as we are about to end this call, we'll be having this space on series on beginner's guide. Let me just allow a Gavi master to speak, and then we'll summarize on what we have talked about. So the next series will now move now to more detailed stuff, like how to actually install what we need to install, and then what kind of dApps or stuff that we can actually build on Starknet. So I'll give you master, you can speak shortly, and then we wind up this conversation. Hello.
For sure. So Starknet is a very interesting layer 2. We can improve. From the previous speaker, you've heard Cairo. You might be wondering, what is Cairo? It is just the programming language used to build smart contracts on Starknet. So you all know other EVMs mostly use Solidity, but for Starknet it uses Cairo. It's just the language. So as a beginner, I think the beauty about Starknet, it has quite good documentation. Like other programming languages where you find in the internet it's overflooded, Starknet it has some specific documentation which you can read through and you'll get your kickstart. I think from my experience learning it, I would recommend the Starknet book. If you want to get to understand Starknet, then you can also go through the Cairo book, and then GitHub. It's called Starknet Foundry. That's the latest framework for building on it. Those resources are quite good. Then essentially also now once you've read that, you can also go through, they have some challenges. They are called stack links. The GitHub repo, if you do those challenges, there's nothing which can really scare you. So I find it quite beautiful, literally 4 resources. Just go through them and you're quite good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just drop the links in this space. You've mentioned really important ones, alongside the ones that Dalmas had dropped before. So tomorrow, same time, I think we'll continue with this conversation. Please invite everyone that is interested in building on Starknet so that we can walk this journey together. Just to recap, last week we graduated, so that's why I think we now don't have the imposter syndrome. Right now we can be able to talk about Starknet happily because we have learned a thing or two, and we just want to share with as many devs out there as possible. So yeah, I think if there's no other addition, I'd like to end it.
Let me something I can ask. Okay. So if I have a blog, where can I reach some of the guys who can help out, the likes of Dalmas? Is there a WhatsApp group or something, or a Telegram group I can join?
Yes.
Or Discord?
Let me drop the Starknet Dev Africa Telegram handle.
Okay, sure.
You can also follow each other here. I think most of us post a lot about whatever we are doing. For example, Dalmas even has article section in his website. You can go through that. Cindy posts a lot of nice threads, Twitter threads. I also write some blogs on Starknet. So yeah, if you follow each other, we can, Cindy and Dalmas, you can just drop your links. You can drop your links to your whatever you do, and then yeah, even me, I'll post my blogs on some stuff that I've written on Starknet before. Let me drop it. I don't know where. Yeah, so you can follow Starknet also. Starknet Africa, Starknet, Starkware, Starknet ecosystem, and most of us, you will see us tagging most of the handles. Dalmas, can you help me post the Telegram handle?
Yeah, let me post it. So I'll post Starknet DevNet. of Starknet Africa, we have Starknet Nairobi.
Yeah, you can just post them there. Yeah, so he has posted them there, so you can just share. I mean, join the links.
Awesome. So will there be also like a physical meet maybe in the near future or something like that where we can actually like?
Just a moment.
Yeah, there's an upcoming Starknet meetup, December 2nd. So if you're free, you can just tag along and come and hear more about the system from now, probably the OGs of Starknet who were even there before we knew about it. I shared the link also in my other communities, but I'll also share it here. I mean, I'll let Dalmas share because I can't see where to put with my phone.
Okay, just a moment, I pick it up. Yeah, so here it is.
Yeah, he has posted almost everything. Gavin Master can also post some of the links we talked about. So let's keep this conversation going. You can tweet this space so that the people who meet can listen to the recordings. Remember to tag each other and of course follow each other so that we build the community. Let me see if he has posted.
Yeah, the link is somewhere there. That is Starknet Nairobi meetup.
Yeah, everything now is shared. So if there are no other questions, I think we can end the call so that it cannot be too long and boring. Tomorrow also at same time, we will continue with this series and talk about something else. So be sure to join and share with everyone else. So from my side, you can just leave at your own time if you want. My space does not have music. I'm still learning how to put music during the Twitter space. Oh, if someone knows how to download the recorded space, you can just share with me that knowledge. I don't know how to do it, so that I can also upload it in my in my podcast show. All right, bye everyone. See you tomorrow, same time.
Bye.